Good morning, America. For our viewers in the West, an anti-Semitic attack. Toxic smoke spreads into the U.S. and the perfect team. Urgent investigation into attack. At least 8 peaceful demonstrators injured after a man used a makeshift flamethrower.
There's multiple mixed reports about 8 people are on fire now.
Video shows him screaming at the crowd. Witnesses say he yelled "Free Palestine." This morning, the latest on the victims. Police around the country step up their presence at Jewish events.
More than 90 out-of-control wildfires forcing 17,000 to evacuate in Canada. This morning, the warning for millions of Americans. Air quality alerts as toxic smoke from massive inferno spread. Ginger is tracking it.
Surprise attack. How Ukraine pulled off a drone assault on military airfields deep inside Russia, crippling nuclear-capable bombers.
The Senate set to take up President Trump's massive spending bill, key to his agenda, with tax cuts and cuts to Medicaid and food assistance. Several Republican senators signal they're not on board.
Sean Diddy Combs back in court as his rival Suge Knight speaks to ABC News from behind bars on what he calls an open secret about Diddy and why he said this.
I don't feel that they should take property and lock him up and throw away the key.
Deadly home explosion. The investigation after a blast leveled a home, rocking a Kansas City suburb. What was to blame?
Crossing the line.
I fear that I'm being stalked and I don't know what to do.
Gymnast and social media star Livy Dunn calling out hostile behavior of the men who she says stalk her at airports.
And look what they did. The history-making moment when the Pilots landed a championship after an undefeated 59-0 season. And look what Coco just did. The Americans thriving in Paris.
Live from Times Square, it's Monday. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Much more on Coco Gauff's big win. Just moments ago, and I'll tell you about the other Americans at the French Open who were doing pretty well also.
Allez, go America and go Coco Gauff. Plus, big news in the housing market, why buyers just gained the upper hand over sellers.
We're going to begin with that attack on a gathering of Jewish community members in Boulder, Colorado. They were calling for the release of the hostages held by Hamas. 8 people hospitalized after witnesses say the attacker used a makeshift flamethrower and threw an incendiary device. The man was taken into custody at the scene. Mola Lenghi is in Boulder with the latest. Good morning, Mola.
Well, good morning, George. The FBI investigating this as a potential targeted act of terrorism. Witnesses here describing just a horrifying scene here at this outdoor pedestrian mall in Boulder. People being set on fire.
Officers rushing to the scene in Boulder, Colorado around 1:30 Sunday afternoon after receiving calls of people being set on fire.
There's multiple mixed reports about 8 people are on fire now. We're getting lots of 911 calls.
Police responding to a suspect armed with what officials say was a makeshift flamethrower who allegedly threw an incendiary device into the crowd. Witnesses say he yelled "Free Palestine" during the attack.
I've never seen anything like this before in my entire life. It was absolutely gruesome.
The FBI investigating what they're calling a targeted attack on a group of peaceful demonstrators who were raising awareness on the remaining Israeli hostages in Gaza.
It is clear that this is a targeted act of violence, and the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism.
8 people between the ages of 52 and 88 injured. 2 airlifted to burn units, 1 in critical condition. A source brief tells ABC News one of the victims is apparently a female Holocaust survivor. This video shows the suspect, according to an official briefed on the situation, holding what appears to be Molotov cocktails in front of a patch of burning grass, screaming at the crowd before being taken down by police.
He had 3 Molotov cocktails. One of them he threw inside of a group. At the group, and one lady lit on fire from head to toe.
There was a jug filled with the same stuff. I thought it was alcohol at first, but it smelled like gasoline. He was also taking this garden sprayer, basically, and spraying people with this gasoline and fire and flames.
Authorities identifying 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Solomon as the suspect apprehended on scene.
This has every single sign of being a hate crime. The perpetrator was waiting for people who were engaging in peaceful activity. It was a group of Jews from Boulder who were making a stand for freeing hostages who've been in prison since October 7th.
Overnight, the FBI descending on the suspect's alleged residence in the Colorado Springs area, about an hour and a half from Boulder. The group, Run for Their Lives, meets weekly, ending their walk at this courthouse. Omar Shahar, who was leading the group, says he saw the man waiting for them before they were attacked.
You see fire under the legs of your friends in your community. You want to help them. And then this is when we all retreated and realized that he doesn't care. He's there to harm as much as possible.
Well, we're learning that the suspect was in the United States illegally, according to an official at the Department of Homeland Security. The Boulder County Jail database says the suspect is being held on a $10 million bond, in addition to a list of charges this morning, including attempted murder as well as murder. Now, we should note, according to police at least, that there have been no fatalities reported in this attack, but we are expecting more detailed, more formal information on these charges throughout the day, Michael.
Like you said, we're happy there are no fatalities there, Mola. Thank you for that. But there is heightened concern about anti-Semitic attacks in the U.S. Our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, has more on that. Good morning, Pierre.
Michael, good morning. This Colorado case is so chilling, and it comes less than 2 weeks after another suspect in Washington, D.C. assassinated 2 staff workers from the Israeli embassy. And the fact that the suspect in the Boulder case allegedly said, "Free Palestine," which is precisely what the suspect said in Washington, has the attention of everyone in law enforcement across the country. Remember, it was only a few weeks ago that the Pennsylvania governor's mansion was firebombed on the first night of Passover by a man who was upset by Governor Josh Shapiro's stance on Gaza. This morning, police in D.C. and New York responding to the Colorado attack with stepped-up security at Jewish facilities. And the number suggests it's for good reason. Both the FBI and the Anti-Defamation League have documented a stunning rise in acts of hate targeting Jewish people since the October 7, 2023 terror attack in Israel. The ADL is tracking data showing such a dramatic, whopping surge, 893% in the last decade, with the number of incidents nearly tripling between 2022 and 2024, Rebecca.
An 893% increase. That is a stunning statistic. Pierre, thank you. We turn now to the urgent air quality alerts across the upper Midwest. Toxic smoke from dozens of wildfires burning out of control in Canada is making its way across the border. Alex Perez is in Minneapolis. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning, Rebecca. You can see some of that haze is starting to build on the Minneapolis skyline behind me here. Now, all of that because that pesky Canadian wildfire smoke is back. Now, there are some 94 wildfires in Canada that authorities there considered to be burning out of control, forcing some 17,000 people there to evacuate. That thick smoke, unfortunately, drifting south into the U.S., creating hazy and for many unhealthy conditions in several states, stretching to the Midwest and parts of the Upper Plains, leading to a number of air quality alerts across the region, including the entire state of Minnesota and through the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Now, officials say, thankfully, this current round of wildfire smoke is not as bad as what we saw back in 2023. But nonetheless, authorities are asking people to monitor those air quality alerts and take them seriously, especially for children under 5 and adults with compromised conditions. Experts say they should stay inside and should consider limiting their time outdoors. Rebecca?
Yep, those are some very important alerts. Alex, thank you. And we're going to bring in Ginger with where that smoke is headed. Good morning, Ginger.
Hey, good morning. So it was most dense over the weekend, Rebecca, over the Northern Plains and Great Lakes, but it made its way all the way to South Carolina in some of the higher levels. That was a visible satellite from Sunday. What you can see here is the air quality alerts that are up for today. This is round 3 of smoke for the state of Minnesota and for the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And that's because it's going to come with the cold front. And actually behind it, the front brings storms too. So this is slightly different than what they saw over the weekend. That should mix down some of the smoke, but this is the near surface. So, George, we're talking about the kind that actually has impact to pregnant women, to people who have sensitivity, that you can't go outdoors. That's the type we were just speaking about.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Yeah. Okay, Ginger, thanks. We're going to go overseas now to Ukraine's drone attacks that targeted military air bases inside Russia, leaving dozens of aircrafts in flames. Marcus Moore tracking the latest. Good morning, Marcus.
Well, George, good morning. This was an extraordinary operation. Ukraine successfully infiltrating deep inside Russian territory and launching this attack. And this escalation comes just as a new round of peace talks is set to get underway. This morning, astonishing footage capturing in real time Ukraine's surprise drone attack on some of Russia's key airfields. smoke rising into the air. The coordinated drone strike hitting at least 4 locations, crippling nuclear-capable bombers stationed deep inside Russia.
It looks like around 30% or higher of their strategic bombers were destroyed. Some of these drones were as low as $500, taking out million-dollar aircraft. It was a blow tactically, it was a blow strategically, and it was a blow politically.
This video shows the widespread damage. More than 40 aircraft in flames following an operation that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said was one for the history books. An attack that Ukrainian sources tell ABC News was a year and a half in the making. The drones capable of striking Russia after first being smuggled into the country on what appear to be shipping containers. The containers equipped with retractable roofs that could be opened remotely. And when the timing was right, Ukraine struck. Drones seen here in video shared online flying out on their mission. The Ukrainians did not inform the U.S. ahead of time. The apparent escalation in this war comes as President Trump has criticized Putin's attacks on civilians and grown increasingly impatient with both sides, threatening to walk away from peace talks. The second round of peace talks set to get underway in Istanbul, Turkey, with so much at stake. But the volley of attacks we saw this weekend, including Ukraine's surprise strike, I think shows that both sides are capable and are prepared to keep fighting this war that's been on now for 3 years. Michael.
Yeah, they've shown that, Marcus. Thank you so much. We're going to turn now to the latest on the humanitarian situation in Gaza. According to Hamas-run the Hamas-run health ministry, dozens of people were killed and hundreds injured after gunfire erupted near an aid distribution site. Our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, is in Tel Aviv for us this morning. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Michael. Devastating scenes in Gaza. As you say, according to the Hamas-run health ministry, at least 31 people were killed, around 200 injured, after Israeli forces opened fire near this US-backed aid site. Food, of course, is in desperately short supply in Gaza, and eyewitnesses saying a large crowd was waiting for this centre to open. Already struggling hospitals in the area overwhelmed with victims. The group Doctors Without Borders saying patients telling them they were shot at from all sides. Now, the IDF strongly denying that its troops opened fire on the crowd in this incident. However, an Israeli military official telling ABC News that soldiers did fire, quotes, warning shots towards several suspects who advanced towards the troops, also in the same vicinity. The US-backed Gaza Foundation says it hasn't seen any evidence that there was an attack at or near its facility. The UN now calling for an independent investigation. Meanwhile, those hopes of a breakthrough ceasefire and hostage release fading as Israel has started expanding its ground operations in Gaza. Rebecca.
And those 58 hostages still held by Hamas. All right, Ian, thank you. We turn now to a Senate update set to take up President Trump's massive spending bill this week, which is key to his agenda. But some Republican senators say they can't support the bill, which narrowly passed in the House. Our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott, is at the White House for us. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, Rebecca, good morning to you. And you're right, this bill barely passed the House, and it will certainly face challenges in the Senate, where a handful of Republicans are already warning about the level of spending. Others back home at town halls confronted about the cuts. This morning, with pressure mounting to pass President Trump's signature spending bill, a handful of Republican senators signaling they are not on board.
I just can't support something that actually increases the deficit, and that is what's going to happen right now as the bill's currently written.
I don't want to raise the debt ceiling $5 trillion.
Well, the bill promises to slash federal spending by $1.5 trillion. By some estimates, it would add $3.8 trillion to the national deficit over the next 10 years, with cuts to food assistance and Medicaid. More than 8 million Americans projected to lose coverage, according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. At town halls, Republicans confronted about those cuts. Iowa Senator Joni Ernst heckled and booed.
They are not eligible, so they will be coming off. So people are not... Well, we all are going to die. So, for heaven's sakes.
After her response drew outrage, Ernst doubling down, posting this video standing near a cemetery.
I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth.
The legislation pushed through the House by Republicans extends the 2017 Trump-era tax cuts, sets aside nearly $50 billion to resume construction on the border wall, and pushes work requirements for Medicaid.
They're cutting Medicaid, throwing 15 million people off their health care in order to fund a tax cut
for the super wealthy and for corporations. That is just fundamentally immoral. It's immoral and it's unethical.
The administration defending the package.
This bill will preserve and protect the programs, the social safety net, but it will make it much more common sense.
So Senate Majority Leader John Thune is now racing to get this done by a July 4th deadline. He can only afford to lose 3 Republicans, guys.
And Rachel, late Friday, the president also announced new tariffs set to hit this week.
Yeah, the president announced he's now doubling tariffs on imported steel and aluminum, raising them from 25% to 50%. This is starting on Wednesday. The European Commission blasting this move, saying that it only adds to the uncertainty, that it undermines ongoing negotiations, and that they're prepared to respond with countermeasures. And it comes as these tariffs continue to be challenged in court. But, George, I will tell you, I've talked to senior administration officials here at the White House. They have made it absolutely clear that these tariffs are staying in place, and they're willing to fight this all the way to the Supreme Court, George.
We have seen, though, a lot of back and forth on it, Rachel. Thank you. And this back and forth really confusing for American consumers.
It is. And you see the stock market responding to it. When tariffs are on, you see stocks go lower. When tariffs are coming off, you see them go higher. And for businesses and consumers, it's a lot longer to really work through. They don't make automatic decisions. And you've already heard from businesses, Best Buy, Walmart, AutoZone, Target, all saying they're starting to pass these off to consumers, and they're going to continue.
Yeah, you might have to make decisions months or a year in advance. You just can't do it the last second. All right, Rebecca, thank you for that. And we're going to shift gears now to the French Open. Coco Gauff with a big win this morning and a big year so far for the American men and women. Of course, Lara, our resident tennis expert, is here with all the excitement. Good morning, Lara.
Tennis fan, perhaps? Three cheers for the Americans who are having a banner year at the French Open. 8 U.S. players, 5 women, 3 men made it to the round of 16. This marks the first time in 40 years that this many U.S. players have gone to the 4th round of this tournament. And just this morning, Coco Gauff punching her ticket to the quarterfinals by defeating Ekaterina Alexandrova in straight sets. Nicely done. Jess Pegula, Madison Keys, Haley Baptiste all play their round of 16 matches today, hoping for their shot in the quarters. And now to the men's side. 2 players have made it to the quarterfinals. Francis Tiafoe is there for the first time, and Tommy Paul both play tomorrow, looking for the spot in the semifinals. Tommy Paul faces a tough test, defeating defending champ Carlos Alcaraz. Yes, he does have to get through Alcaraz. This is the first time 2 American men, though, have reached the quarters at the French Open since 1996. Guys, any guesses who they were? Don't look at the teleprompter.
It's too late.
And Pete Sampras. Yes, it has been a while, so we are very excited for the possibilities here.
I almost did it and acted like I didn't.
I saw you one eye.
We all saw it. Coming up, as the 4th week of testimony gets underway in the Sean Diddy Combs trial, Aaron Katursky is at the court.
Plus, gymnast and social media star Livy Dunn says she's being harassed by men tracking her travel, and she is not the only one.
And new at 7:30, we'll tell you why supermarket chain Aldi is being sued by the maker of Oreos. Stay right there. We'll be right back. Welcome back to GMA. That's Joey McIntyre from New Kids on the Block, dancing the first ever performance on Dancing with the Stars. Guys, that was 20 years ago.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, celebrity and pro dancers posting congratulations for the big anniversary, including host Julianne Hough saying, quote, "This is more than a show, it's a family." And yeah, 20 years.
You just made me think of another anniversary.
What's that?
20 years ago today, Oprah Stephanopoulos was born.
Oh,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
She's not watching, but happy birthday.
Wow.
Do they ever care what we do, George?
Right now, new at 7:30. Investigation underway into a deadly home explosion in a Kansas City suburb that killed 1 person on Saturday. The blast was captured on Ring camera, with 1 resident describing the scene as total destruction. Officials evacuated neighboring homes until they could secure the area. A representative of the gas company said it was not gas-related. Also, the maker of Oreo and other snacks is suing supermarket chain Aldi, claiming the packaging of the chain's products looks nearly identical to its packaging. Mondelez International says Aldi is trying to, quote, deceive and confuse customers into thinking they are buying the name brand snacks. Mondelez is asking for monetary damages, wants Aldi to stop selling the products.
And the LSU Shreveport Pilots made history as college baseball's first ever team to complete an undefeated season, thanks to their win on Friday. 59-0. Wow, they won the NAIA National Championship after a comeback win against Southeastern University. Congratulations to them. 59-0.
Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy. What a team. Now to the Sean Combs sex trafficking trial. Enters a fourth week of testimony as we hear from Suge Knight, Combs' rap rival whose name has come up often at the trial. Dan Abrams is standing by. We're going to talk to him after Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katursky gives us this report from the courthouse. Good morning, Aaron.
And good morning to you, George. Long before federal prosecutors put Sean Combs on trial here, his chief hip-hop competitor told us that Combs was known in the industry for some of the very conduct that could now put him in prison.
Can't nobody hold me down. Oh, no.
This morning, as a fourth week of testimony begins in the Sean Combs trial in New York, his West Coast rival and Death Row Records founder Suge Knight is speaking out from behind bars in California, telling ABC News Combs' sexual appetites were an open secret beginning in the 1990s.
Everybody knew that. Puffy didn't just pop in the industry and say, hey, I want to have sex with everybody.
Out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming.
The rivalry between Combs and Knight, notoriously marked by the shooting deaths of Biggie Smalls and Knight's artist Tupac Shakur, has come up at trial. Capricorn Clark became Combs' assistant after working for Knight and testified that on her first day, Combs took her to Central Park. He told me he didn't know that I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me.
A lot of people might say, well, Capricorn could have did anything else she wanted to do. She did try. If you go get a job at Universal and Puffy make a phone call, you're not getting that job. If you go get a job at a talent agency or in the movie business and Puffy make that call, your career is over.
Knight has come up during trial at least 50 times. Another former assistant, David James, testified he once spotted Knight at Mel's Diner in Los Angeles and was then forced to accompany Combs, who he said was armed, to confront him.
If there's anything suggesting that I was doing anything illegal, I'm going to say definitely not.
Knight, who spoke to us from a California prison where he's serving time for a fatal hit and run, expressed some sympathy for Combs.
I don't feel that they should take Puffy and lock him up and throw away the key. I think he can do so much good right now. Him telling the truth about the industry.
And despite their long-standing rivalry, Suge Knight told us he does not hate Sean Combs. Now, a new week of testimony begins here this morning with Combs' former assistant testifying under the pseudonym Mia, back on the witness stand and under cross-examination. Guys?
Okay, Aaron, let's bring in Dan Abrams for more on this. Suge Knight, important witness for prosecutors.
Look, Suge Knight is basically saying at this point, from behind bars, you have to understand there's more context here. He's not the only one who was doing things like that. He's sort of walking a very fine line, suggesting that he should testify, right? That he's not going to testify in this case. And I don't know that I would take legal advice from Suge Knight from behind bars right now. But, you know, it is interesting when you look at the context more culturally of the hip-hop world to listen to Suge Knight. I think it's less significant with regard to the actual trial.
Well, how successful have prosecutors been in proving racketeering and sex trafficking?
More successful than I thought they were going to be. I mean, when we talked about this early in the case, I was talking about how hard the RICO, the racketeering part, was going to be. But you're seeing now witness after witness come forward talking about his employees assisting in this, right? Now you have the enterprise. The enterprise is the people who work for him doing the things he's telling them to do. And then you have potential crime after crime after crime that's being alleged, which is everything from kidnapping and arson to extortion, et cetera. And you were asking me a moment ago, Michael, but, you know, wait a sec. Have they necessarily proved each and every one of these? And that's going to be the question, right? That's going to be the question that has to be addressed is there enough proof to say that there was an arson, for example? It wasn't proved in court. Has it in another case, meaning, so has it been proved here?
And who else does the prosecution then need to put on the stand to prove all of this?
Well, so they have another victim, another critical victim who's going to come forward, an ex-girlfriend of his who's going to testify. And I think, again, you're going to see the same kind of defense that we've seen in each one of these, which is, again and again, it's you came back, you didn't complain at the time, and why would you write all these positive things about him in the meantime? So you're going to see similar defenses throughout with regard to these witnesses.
All right, Dan Abrams, thank you as always, my friend. Appreciate you. And we're going to turn now to a scare at Newark Airport. A toddler getting onto the baggage conveyor belt at the ticketing desk, riding all the way to the baggage room. She's transportation correspondent. Gio Benitez is here with more. Good morning, Gio.
Good morning, Michael. Yeah, just imagine this. You're a parent, you're at the airport dealing with all those people around you, when suddenly you realize that not only has your child disappeared, they ended up on the conveyor belt, and that's exactly what happened to one family. This morning, a shocking and scary situation at Newark Liberty Airport when a 2-year-old child ended up on a conveyor belt meant for luggage. The toddler gaining access to the belt at the JetBlue counter on the departures level Wednesday. Officers then finding the child in the checked baggage room on the lower level, thankfully unhurt.
It's extremely dangerous. You've got diverters back there that are actually these gigantic pushers or levers, if you will, that will shove those bags down the appropriate conveyor belt. And that alone can be fatal for a small child.
It's a terrifying incident, and it's happened more than once. In 2021, a 9-year-old boy climbed onto an airport luggage belt, getting pulled inside, seen in surveillance video obtained by NPR News. The boy had wandered away from his family at the Minneapolis airport, Delta staff stopping the belt, but the boy escaping onto another one that eventually brought him to the screening area. He's then seen crawling out and jumping down. And in 2019, this toddler went for a scary ride through the Spirit baggage system in Atlanta.
I just went blank. I wanted to jump in and try to go get him, but didn't allow me.
The 2-year-old going through the conveyor system, climbing over bags, passing inside an X-ray machine, and finally down a ramp into a large baggage screening room where TSA agents found him and called for help. He suffered cuts to his arm and a fractured hand. Meanwhile, on this latest incident, it turns out that the child really wasn't hurt because the parents told medical workers that the toddler didn't need any medical attention. But boy, was this scary, guys.
Yeah, that's extremely scary. All right, thank you for that.
Now with superstar gymnast and influencer Linsey Dunn blasting autograph seekers who follow her at airports, and she says sometimes get aggressive and hostile. Eva Pilgrim is here with that story. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, Rebecca. She is one of the most recognizable faces in college sports. Linsey Dunn admits she is chronically online, but says that some recent attention has gotten scary.
I fear that I'm being stalked and I don't know what to do.
This morning, superstar gymnast and influencer Linsey Dunn fed up.
Every single time I go to the airport, there's a group of at least 10 middle-aged men waiting for me and they harass me.
The Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover star calling out the, quote, hostile behavior she says she faces from autograph seekers, saying the so-called graphers find her at airports with stacks of her photos or magazines, and if she doesn't stop to sign them, they chase her.
They will yell at me and make a scene.
Linsey, not the only female athlete to complain about this. Olympic gold medalist Gabby Thomas posted this TikTok in January talking about a similar experience.
At this point, every time I travel, I'm afraid that these men, it's 3 to 6 of them, middle-aged, are going to show up and harass me.
Coco Gauff commenting, "This happens to me too. I don't know how it happens." Simone Biles writing, "No, same. I'm horrified of them. Happens too often." Linsey acknowledges she shares a lot of her life online and says she doesn't mind signing autographs for fans.
You can have people be pushy and ask for your autograph, and that's gone on since time immemorial. Where's the line then where it becomes organized and hostile and intimidation and harassment?
Signed photos can get anywhere from $50 to more than $1,000.
For Linsey Dunn, she was on the cover of a Sports Illustrated swimsuit. When that first came out, since no one had it yet, there's a large demand.
While so-called graphers aren't breaking the law approaching celebrities for their signatures, Linsey says what they are doing at airports crosses the line.
It needs to stop because it's scary for girls.
And Linsey saying these guys are showing up in airports, even inside the terminal when she's come through on connecting flights. She says this is happening even if she hasn't posted anything, isn't coming from a public event. She isn't sure how they find out that she's at the airport, but again, she says it's scary, guys.
It is.
Yeah.
Very scary.
You're going to come back later. You're going to be talking about Miley Cyrus?
Miley Cyrus.
Okay.
Now, what our play of the day and a major league dream come true. Will Reed is here with that. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. When minor league second baseman Cole Young woke up on Saturday morning, he had no idea his life was about to change. Watch this. His AAA Tacoma manager gives him the news that he is going up to the show.
Just take that to Seattle tomorrow, okay?
Where?
Seattle. Tomorrow. So you're done. You're not playing anymore this game. You're going to go play for Seattle. All right? Congratulations. Hey.
That is an amazing moment. He's a 21-year-old prospect. He can't believe his ears at first. So, how did he do when he got up to the Seattle Mariners? Well, fast forward a few hours. Check it out. Young batting in the bottom of the 11th inning in his major league debut. The score is tied. That's a walk-off grounder to win the game for Seattle over Minnesota. Sorry, Rebecca, but it's a nice moment anyway. His new teammates mobbing him, the crowd loving it, especially his mom, his dad, his brother, and close friends. Look at that. What a moment.
It's amazing he played the day he was called up.
He played the day he was called up, gets the walk-off hit. His parents and his family are in the crowd. What a moment.
That's fantastic.
They don't have time to let you warm. Get in there, kid.
Yeah, right.
We brought you here to produce.
Yeah, you got to
He
show
did
up
it.
to work. There's no, grace period, I guess. It is a job. But there you go.
Congratulations to the young man.
Yeah, really awesome.
And he was truly in shock.
He's like, wait, Seattle? Okay, all right, here we go.
Wait, the manager said, give me a hug, kid. Come back. All right, well, you're not going anywhere. Don't walk away. You're sticking around with a look ahead to the NBA Finals. Will's got us covered when we come back.
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. Urgent investigation into attack. At least 8 peaceful demonstrators injured after a man used a makeshift flamethrower.
There's multiple mixed reports about if people are on fire now.
Video shows him screaming at the crowd, yelling, "Free Palestine." This morning, the latest on the victims, as police around the country step up their presence at Jewish events.
Miley Cyrus getting personal in a new interview.
I have a lot of grace for him.
On reconciling with her dad, her bond with her mom, and the therapy she says saved her life.
A
A new era for Taylor Swift. How she's inspiring other artists and fans after buying back her master recordings. Now what Swifties are waiting for her to do next. The clues this morning.
And the stars of The Handmaid's Tale are here live. Elizabeth Moss, Max Minghella, and Ann Dowd on the explosive final season. And what's next? As we say, Good Morning America.
Live from Times Square, it's Monday. Good Morning America.
Good morning, America. Good to be with you on this Monday morning, and it's time to up your skin protection game for summer. Kate Sandoval Box of Oprah Daily is here with the winners of the Oprah Sun Award.
Those are always so helpful, and all we need is a little sun, and Ginger says it's on the way, so we're good on that front, too. Also ahead, big news in the housing market, why buyers just gained the upper hand over sellers.
And we're going to take a look at this investigation after 2 teens were found dead in a remote Arizona campsite. First, though, we'll look at the top stories breaking at 8. We start with the attack on a gathering of Jewish community members in Boulder, Colorado. They were calling for the release of the hostages held by Hamas. 8 people hospitalized after the attacker used a makeshift flamethrower. The man was taken into custody. I want to go back to Mola Lengi in Boulder. Good morning, Mola.
Well, good morning, George. Yeah, witnesses describing just a horrifying scene here at this outdoor pedestrian mall here in Boulder. People being set on fire. The FBI now this morning investigating this as a potential targeted act of terrorism.
Officers rushing to the scene in Boulder, Colorado around 1:30 Sunday afternoon after receiving calls of people being set on fire.
There's multiple mixed reports about if people are on fire now. We're getting lots of 911 calls.
Police responding to a suspect armed with what officials say was a makeshift flamethrower who allegedly threw an incendiary device into the crowd. Witnesses say he yelled, "Free Palestine," during the attack. The FBI investigating what they're calling a targeted attack on a group of peaceful demonstrators who were raising awareness on the remaining Israeli hostages in Gaza.
The FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism.
8 people between the ages of 52 and 88 injured. 2 airlifted to burn units, 1 in critical condition. This video shows the suspect, according to an official briefed on the situation, holding what appears to be Molotov cocktails in front of a patch of burning grass, screaming at the crowd before being taken down by police.
One lady lit on fire from head to toe.
Authorities identifying 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Solomon as the suspect apprehended on scene.
This has every single sign of being a hate crime. The perpetrator was waiting for people who were engaging in peaceful activity.
Well, we're learning that the suspect was in the United States illegally, according to an official at the Department of Homeland Security. Also this morning, authorities in Washington and New York stepping up security at Jewish facilities in response to the attack here in Boulder. This as the FBI and Anti-Defamation League documenting a dramatic rise in anti-Semitism and attacks on Jewish people since the October 7th terrorist attacks in Israel. Michael.
All right, Mola, thank you so much for bringing that to us. And we're going to go now to the search for answers in Arizona after 2 teenagers were found shot to death in a remote section of a national forest. Chief National Correspondent Matt Gutman is here with the latest. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Michael. Maricopa County Sheriff's Office are treating this as a homicide right now. And that's because Evan Clark, who was 17 in Pandora, Joel's Root, 18, were found shot to death in the Tonto National Forest, about 60 miles northeast of Phoenix, Arizona. Their bodies were found on May 27th, the day after Memorial Day. Now, investigators have been tight-lipped about what they've found so far, calling it, with some understatement, suspicious. Now, friends say the pair would go to that part of the forest to watch the sunset. Clark and Joel's Root had gone to high school together in Phoenix. And of course, with authorities not saying anything about arrests or suspects, community members are wondering if they are safe with a murderer on the loose. Now, Pandora's mother said in a statement her heart was shattered into a million pieces. And Evan Clark's mother said he used to write her letters, the last of which she said in a statement he gave me on Mother's Day. That was so touching. It made me both cry and laugh. He was special. He deserved a long life, he said. Guys.
He really did, and such a tragic story. Okay, Matt, thank you. We're going to shift gears now and turn to the NBA Finals. The Indiana Pacers advanced to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Will Reeve is back with a preview. There's a lot of sad here at the desk this morning, so don't rub it in too much, Will.
We got the NBA Finals ready to go, and George,
yes, we do.
Spent a lot of time establishing the fact that teams that go up 3-1 in the NBA playoffs go on to win 95.6% of the time. Pacers now 100% into the NBA Finals. They're first since 2000. They dominated the Knicks in Indianapolis in Game 6, sending New York and their fans like Spike and Ben and Timothy and Michael home for the summer. So we turn now to the NBA Finals. They begin Thursday night in Oklahoma City. Thunder against the Pacers. Not exactly what everyone had in mind when the season began, but since this calendar year began, January 1, these have been the best 2 teams in the NBA by record. And the cities may be small markets, but the teams have big-time players. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the superstar for the Thunder. He's the MVP this year. He's surrounded by a tremendous young supporting cast, which helped the Thunder win an NBA best 68 games this year. For Indiana, they've got Tyrese Halliburton as the main man. Pascal Siakam had 31 points in Game 6. He's the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Bottom line is this. Both of these teams are excellent. They play fast. They shoot well. They defend hard. This is going to be really good basketball. And it begins with Game 1 of the NBA Finals, tipping off Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern right here on ABC.
You sound like you're really selling it.
Michael, I want to know what happens to the orange pants. Where do they go?
My orange pants were quite hot. And
you can actually rock the orange pants for the Thunder with this jacket.
Yeah, I mean, right. I just.
Why don't you give them to me? I'm going to Oklahoma City tomorrow, so you give me your orange pants.
Right. Well, you're going to
be the sisterhood of the traveling orange pants. It's perfect.
It's going to be a great finals, though.
Yeah,
these 2 teams are really good.
It really is.
And they do not miss. And they both play great defense.
They do.
All right, always key. All right, thank you, Will, and leave my pants alone. In our GMA morning menu, Grammy winner Miley Cyrus on reconciling with her father in the therapy she credits with saving her life.
Also ahead, I'll tell you what buyers and sellers need to know to take advantage of the changing housing market.
And we're kicking off our Pride celebration with a look at a decade of marriage equality with 2 couples who married as soon as the law was passed. What they don't know is that we're throwing a surprise anniversary party for them. Their friends and family are here. And there you see them, and Larry's here with some special guests.
George, it is so hard to believe it has been almost a decade since The Handmaid's Tale came into our lives on screen. And this morning, the stars of the show, Elizabeth Moss, Ann Dowd, and Max Minghella, are all here to talk about the incredible final season and what a run. To them coming up on Good Morning America.
Pretty start to the week here in Times Square, and we're back with our GMA cover story. Miley Cyrus is getting personal in a new interview with the New York Times. The Grammy winner talks about reconciling with her dad, her bond with her mom, and the therapy that saved her life. Eva Pilgrim back with the story. Hey, Eva.
Hey, guys. He credits therapy for changing everything, helping her confront deep trauma, reconnecting with her family, and finding peace.
I can buy myself flowers.
This morning, Miley Cyrus revealing new details about her life, her family, music, and undergoing therapy.
Love it. Saved my life.
In a new interview with the New York Times, Cyrus says EMDR, or eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, helped her confront trauma she didn't even know she was carrying.
The first thing that happened was I was guided to seat myself on a train. And it's so weird because it's like watching a movie in your mind.
EMDR uses guided eye movements while you process traumatic memories.
It's basically accessing these repressed memories, these traumatic memories, and figuring out how it's affecting you in your daily life and basically getting you to think a different way.
Cyrus says facing her past helped her overcome one of her longest struggles.
I saw all these people that had brought me so much peace and love all of a sudden show up. And they all grabbed me by the hands when we started playing Ring Around the Rosie. And I came out of it and I've never had stage fright again.
And it changed her relationship with her family, including her father, Billy Ray Cyrus.
I definitely, have a really compassionate place in my heart for my dad's upbringing that I can't really quite understand.
She says time, love, and therapy helped her see both of her parents in a new way.
I can love them both as individuals instead of as a kind of, a parental pairing.
And as for what's next, she says she's made some changes in her life.
I feel like next year for me is going to be kind of this like rebirth of how I do things and how I look at my career. But yeah, I feel like this for me is I'm starting to wind down on the pressure.
Miley even shared that the strong bond with her mom was actually the inspiration behind her new song, End of the World, which she says is what it felt like when her mom went on vacation to Italy for 1 week without her. You can check that out on her latest album, Something Beautiful, available now. Michael.
All right, Eva, thank you for that. We're going to turn now to our Money Smart series. If you've been waiting to buy a home, now might be the right time to jump in. Sellers currently outnumber buyers by a record amount. Rebecca, we got to ask you, what does this mean for buyers as well as sellers?
Yeah, so Michael, I'm glad we're talking about this because people have really struggled. We've been hearing about how hard it is to buy a new home, especially for first-time home buyers. But for the first time in a very long time, sellers now outnumber buyers. There's 1.9 million sellers in the market and 1.5 million buyers. That's almost a 34% difference, and it's the most since 2013. And ultimately, this is sort of Econ 101. When you have more of something on the market for sale, the price can go down, and that's what a lot of people have been waiting for because interest rates are so high, 6.8% still, 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. It does cost more to own a home, but the good news is this, unless you're trying to sell a house, this means that it's depressing prices, and if you're a buyer, you might find a deal in the market.
Why is it happening now?
It's happening now in part because people have become a little more desensitized to where interest rates are. It's also because a lot of people have been waiting. So one of the big issues in the market has been people who own a home don't want to sell a house because they know if they're going to buy a new house, they have to take out a new mortgage. That's going to cost them more money. But people have come to terms with this reality. There's also the uncertain economy. So there's people who are saying, okay, maybe I am going to sell my house and rent. And it depends on the market, though. That's something that's really important here. I'm sure there's people in the real estate industry listening right now, and they're saying, well, that's not the way it works in my market.
Right.
So, and Lara, I know how into real estate you are.
Yeah,
we talk
it's
about it off
fascinating.
camera and on camera. Some of the really big markets right now where you do see this happening, a lot of them are in Florida right now, where sellers completely outnumber buyers. So places like I have it right here. Places like Miami, Florida, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale. Those are some of the big places. Jacksonville, Florida. Michael's shaking his head.
I think Michael's
are you in the
looking
market?
at, potential real estate investments.
Austin, Texas. Well, that's how you have to be if you're actually investing and thinking about opportunities, waiting for that opportunity. And especially, again, if you're a cash buyer in this market, great, huge amount of power. But there are markets where it's not happening. And that's probably, if someone's watching right now, that they're a little nervous about thinking about their own purchasing. So Newark, New Jersey, Nassau County, Montgomery County, Cleveland, and New Brunswick, New Jersey, that is still where it's a seller's market. So closer to here in New York, lots of sellers markets.
That's my home neighborhood.
There you go. Don't
It's
sell.
a vicious cycle, though, right? Because people are nervous. It's
and that's why you have to think long term.
I was just going to say,
if
what
you're
do we do
buying
right
a
now?
house,
Buy or
if you are
sell?
buying a house, you need to know that you're going to stay there for 5 years or more. Be good with that.
All right. All right. Great advice. Thank you so much.
Yeah. We need some more great advice on pop news.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on
so
around
much
this
advice
country.
coming your way. Take out a notepad, everybody. No, this is great news, though. We're so happy for Taylor Swift beginning a new era over the weekend. She surprised fans, sharing that a secret deal had finally gone through that enabled her to buy back all of her original master recordings, meaning her entire catalog. She shared the news on Instagram, using the title of one of her songs, writing, "You Belong to Me," very appropriate. And in a letter on her website, she told fans that, quote, "To say this is my greatest dream come true is actually being pretty reserved about it." She went on to say that every time a new artist tells her that they've negotiated their own master recordings in their record contract because of Taylor's fight, she is reminded of how important it was for all of this to happen. And of course, it wouldn't be a Taylor story without potential Easter eggs. Swifties spotted a potential hint in all of this at a new album, they think, pointing to, get this, the 12 I's that she used in the word this when she wrote,
come on.
So many times during this, she was this close to making a deal only for it to fall through, and fans suspected that those eyes could be an indicator that her 12th studio album with new music is on the way. They look at everything. They count the number of eyes. So,
and they're probably right.
Honestly, she's such a marketing genius. They probably are right.
It's
and I
not
hope
only
they are.
great for her, but it's really smart too. In the world that we're in now, AI, everything else, smart to own your work.
She owns her intellectual
that's
property.
amazing.
I'm really
but
happy.
the 12 eyes is throwing me off.
Come on, let's go, new music. Hey, we have some TV news for you also. The cast of the show Shrinking is actually doing the opposite, adding another TV legend to play alongside Harrison Ford and Jason Segel for season 3. And it's 5-time Emmy winner Candace Bergen joining the cast, alongside Michael J. Fox, who was recently announced. Fans are speculating they'll be involved with the Parkinson's diagnosis of Ford's character, that storyline. It is a disease, of course, that Fox has been battling and also raising awareness for decades. The new season is currently in production.
I had lunch with Michael
I was just going to ask
a week
you.
ago, and he said he was sitting on a bench with Candace Bergen and Harrison Ford.
Oh my gosh.
And a person came up and could not believe their eyes.
Yeah.
3 legends
Yes.
on a bench, and that's exactly what the person
And
said.
I know exactly those scenes in the show where they do that. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah.
We can't wait to see it. And finally this morning, Paul Rudd, another of our favorites, showing off a very special talent. The actor's latest role? Suiting up as a hot dog with ketchup at the Kansas City Royals game over the weekend to participate in their hot dog derby. So how did he do?
Is that ketchup or is that Ant-Man running tonight?
I think it's Ant-Man, and he's got a great crawl going. He got him.
Pretty good speed considering he wasn't using his arms at all.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd wins the hot dog derby tonight.
I love how game he is, and he's such a huge fan in his hometown. I think Paul can credit, honestly, his Marvel training for helping him beat out both mustard and relish. Congratulations, Mr. Rudd.
Go, Paul Rudd.
I'm so happy we're doing this right now. Some of the best products to protect your skin in the summer sun. Oprah Daily just announced its Sun Awards winners, and its beauty director, Kate Sandoval-Box, is with us again to tell us about these. You can shop for them all, by the way, on GoodMorningAmerica.com. I did last time you were here. Welcome back. You guys
so
always
much.
bring the good info, and it's
So
sunblock,
happy to be here.
so important.
So important.
And I love a moisturizer that just has it in it. One-stop shopping in the morning.
Exactly. That's exactly what this is. This is the Olay Super Cream. So not only is it going to protect your skin with an SPF 30, it's also going to hydrate, brighten, smooth,
And
firm.
you can probably get it at a drugstore.
All at once.
right?
Yes. It's under $35. You can get it at a drugstore. All the testers kept saying, "Are you sure this isn't a high-end
Yeah.
cream?" Because it's
Super creamy. I know. I used
You
it
got
this morning.
some?
Yeah, I wanted
it's
to
really
know about these products that we're
really
talking about.
beautiful. I love that you do that.
Yeah. So come on, let's do the next one.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about this winner and why.
This. So many people tell me I don't want to wear sunscreen because it's going to break me out more.
Right.
But this Murad Super Active Mattifying Oil Plus Pore Control Sunscreen.
Wow.
That's a mouthful, but it's worth it because if you have acne, not only is this protecting your skin, it has salicylic acid, so it's clearing up your acne at the same time.
That's fantastic.
It really
Even
is.
if you don't have acne, I was just away, and I really am trying to be, very good about it. And at 50 something, there I was. So this is great to know about.
It's mattifying, so you're not going to get a greasy finish.
Okay,
really,
fantastic.
Really nice.
All right, talk to me about this one. This is Shiseido. It's a little bit more of an investment.
Yes,
Shiseido.
but for active days, this is what you want to reach for because it has an incredible technology, Shiseido Ultimate Sun Protector Mineral, which is a big deal. So they're famous for their wet force technology. It works better when it gets wet.
Meaning sweating. So like for tennis or if you're a runner, this is a really good product.
And now it comes in a mineral SPF 60 plus. A lot of people who have sensitive skin prefer a mineral, so it's great that we have this option.
And $50 is an investment, but your skin is...
It's worth it.
The only one you got, so take good care of it.
Absolutely.
It's always tricky. I remember struggling to get sunblock on my kids back in the day. You guys chose this as the best option.
Yes. So all the mom derms on the panel, I'm a mom. A spray is the way to go when you need to get sunscreen on those wiggly kiddos.
Yeah, so
this
why
one
Blue
is
Lizard?
our favorite. Blue Lizard, sensitive mineral SPF 50. It's water resistant up to 80 minutes. It dries clear. It has aloe, so it's soothing on the skin. We absolutely love it. No matter what with this spray, you want to spray on
and
until
then still
it's
rub,
wet.
or do you not rub?
I prefer a rub. I like to just make sure, but it's so much faster to rub in a spray than a lotion that it's not a big deal.
I always wonder about the face, though. Should you put it into your hands and
You
then
are so right. You know what you're
kind of-
talking about. Yes, spray. If you want to put this on your kid's face, spray it in your hands first and then pat it on.
Or is this better for body and then do it separate for face? Like
I tend to, on my kids, I do this on the body and then I do a stick on the face.
Yeah, I like a stick on the face.
I
All right.
agree.
I like
I
a stick.
agree.
It doesn't sound right, but you know what we mean. All right. And then finally, your final choice, Mary Kay in the house.
Kay. I love this stuff. This is their after sun replenishing gel. So after a long day, you've
If
been
you
in the
missed a
sun.
spot.
If you missed a spot, it has glycerin, green tea. It feels so cooling. It's this beautiful blue gel, which is just nice and fun. And it's not sticky at all. Can
I touch?
Oh yeah, it's exactly what you want to apply at the end of a long day outside.
And it feels good, but also is it a little healing if you
exactly. It's hydrating, replenishing, soothing, everything you want.
And you guys look at a lot of products,
We tested
correct?
hundreds of sunscreens. We interviewed 5 dermatologists on our panel.
Oh, that's great.
These are the best. SPF 30, all of the winners are broad spectrum and beloved by multiple editors.
And did you guys, is 30 sort of the sweet spot for SPF?
30 or above, yes. You have to
and
do
what's
30 or
what's
above.
the point where it's like not really happening anymore? The SPF that's kind of
I know. I mean, once 30, 50 is what I do. There's 70s, there's 100 pluses. You can absolutely do all that. You're going to get a little bit more protection, but as long as you're 30 or above, you're getting enough protection.
All right. Kate, son of a box, as always, we appreciate it. And you'll appreciate it because you can shop for all of these products on goodmorningamerica.com. Kate will be back in the third hour of GMA with more. Coming up, the stars of The Handmaid's Tale are with us live on GMA.
Dear Lord, forgive me, and please forgive them, my precious girls. Have mercy for what they've done, for they have been prisoners of wicked, godless men!
What a moment in The Handmaid's Tale. We're back now with the 15-time Emmy-winning series. It just concluded its 6th and final season. We want to welcome the stars of the show, Elizabeth Moss, Max Minghella, and Ann Dowd. And Max, I saw you were impressed by 15 Emmys.
I was. It's an amazing number. I had no idea, but very proud of that.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, this has been nearly 10 years of your life. How did it feel to finish that final episode?
We actually only finished it, honestly, like 3 weeks ago. So it's very, very new. We were in the final mix up until like 2 weeks before it was on Hulu. So it's very new. I don't think I've really had a chance to even like think about it. You know, it still feels like it's still going.
That is such a quick turn.
Yep.
I've never heard of such a quick turn.
Yeah.
Max, so here you are. She was able to, without giving away too much, she was kind of able to, Elizabeth was able to warn you a little bit about Nick's future.
Yeah.
What does it all feel like to see all of this unfold?
Look, Lizzie and I didn't know each other before we started doing this show. And I think one of the miracles of the experience has been the chemistry that we had, and I think that the collaboration that we've discovered together. And I think it means a lot to us that people have been invested in that relationship and invested in characters.
And people are certainly invested in it, no
Yes.
question about that. And how does it change the tone of a set of the crew when you know it's the last season of a show?
We have a great love for each other on our set, and we have always, I would say, from the beginning, been very close. So we all went through it together. You know, we were in the same place of sadness, but knowing it was time. The arcs for the characters were beautifully written, the arc for the show, and it was time to say goodbye, I think.
Could you all feel the kind of impact you were having on viewers?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's been something that since the beginning we have been, you know, you make the show in a little bit of a bubble. We make it in Toronto with our beautiful cast and crew there, and but then when you take it out into the world in forums, you know, like this, it's always been incredibly flattering.
Yes.
And we always feel super honored that people have felt like it means something to their lives, or they have taken the stories personally in any way, or have allowed it to inspire them. And it's been something I think that I don't know if you get used to. We haven't gotten used
it's something
to it.
you're so grateful for.
Yeah.
That's the strongest feeling.
Yeah.
It's what you always hope for.
Yeah.
Exactly, what you always hope for.
And we've been sharing that clip this morning of
yes.
your big moment, this departure, but it's not the end for you. You're working now with Elizabeth on the Testaments that she's executive producing, and I know it's all a little bit under wraps at this point, but what can you share with us?
Well, I can share that Lydia is a different person given what she went through at the end of The Handmaid's Tale. That wasn't just a day of sorrow and regret. It changed her life profoundly. So the way she deals with the new group of young women, young girls, in point of fact, it's very different. It's very different.
Elizabeth, round 2? After 10 years, you're going to do it again?
Thank God. The great thing the thing I probably love most about the ending is it really doesn't feel like her journey is over, and it doesn't feel like her fight is over. And I think that's kind of perfect for June and for the show. You know, I don't know whether or not she's actually ever going to return or I'll get to play her again, but I'm certainly happy that there's room for that, because I love playing that character so much. She's probably my favorite I've ever played. Yeah, I think so.
And Max, Anna was talking about how the cast and crew came together. You're all going to be receiving an ensemble award tonight, the Gotham Television Awards. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's sort of amazing. I think tonight might be the last time that we're all together. So there's something, it's a bit bittersweet, I think, but I'm so happy that we're all going to get to have dinner and hang out.
It's the most incredible ensemble, too, and I think that over the past 9 years, everyone has grown so much as an actor, and I've seen it happen. I've seen it as an actor, as a producer, and then as a director, and I've seen each and every single one of these actors just really become the best at what they do and at the top of their game. So it's truly, I'm so thrilled that they get to have that moment as an ensemble.
Well, congratulations to all of you. It's a
Thank
great,
you so
great
much.
series.
Thank
All
you.
episodes of the 6th and final season of Handmaid's Tale streaming now on Hulu.
Now on GMA with members of Frontrunners New York, the world's largest LGBTQ+ running and multi-sport club. It has more than 1,200 members, including all these folks here. So happy you're here with us. And you have a big race coming up at the end of this month. Ryan Hallett, the president of FRNY, is here. So great to be with you.
Likewise, good morning.
And I heard that you did our wet 5K for GMA.
We did, yeah. It was worth it for the medal.
But this one will be better. Tell us about the group and tell us about the upcoming
So as
Pride
you
run.
said, Frontrunners New York is the largest LGBTQ+ running club in the world. Our goal is to make sure that we create a space that is for everyone, all speeds, all experiences, all abilities. We love our fast runners. We love our runners of all paces equally, though. And so it's just an honor to get to be somewhere like this, spreading the word, especially in a month like this.
And tell us about the Pride run coming up.
So the Pride Run, it's going to be our 44th year. It is consistently the largest charity Pride Run in the world.
Wow.
We have roughly 10,000 finishers expected, and this year we're raising funds for Lambda Legal.
Outstanding. Thank you all so much for being here. I know you've probably got to get your jog in, but the Pride Run takes place on Saturday, June 28th in Central Park if you want to be a part.
We are here now with one of the most decorated basketball players of all time. #1 overall pick in the 2008 WNBA draft. First player to earn both MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same season. 3 championships, 2 Olympic gold medals. Wow, I'm getting tired reading all this. But now Candace Parker is the author of the Can Do Mindset. Candace, welcome to GMA. Give it up for Candace Parker, everybody. And I had to cut down all those accolades. I'm like, where does she have room in the house to keep all this stuff? But let's talk about your book, and congratulations. The Can Do Mindset all started with your childhood nickname. And so how has it become your mantra?
Well, growing up,
obviously, Candace, shortened to Can, but I grew up with 2 older brothers that were outstanding at everything. And so every time I doubted myself a little bit, my mom kind of would call me Can Do, and it just became who I was. It became when I would try to knock down big free throws, when I had a big test, whatever it was what I told myself to give myself confidence in knowing I could do something.
And in the book, you use it as an acronym. So what does Can Do stand for?
Well, it stands for the community that I come from. It's authenticity. It's about navigating negativity, loving the dash, which is the journey in between the start and the finish. And it's about seizing and creating opportunities. And so I kind of tell stories through the lens of that acronym.
Wow, that was pretty good. That was really good one right
Tennessee
there.
education.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And one of your roles in life is that of the mom, of a mom. And have you instilled the can-do attitude into your kids, and are any of them you see following in your footsteps?
Well, I think every single day I represent where I come from and my mentors and the people that have really kind of laid the foundation for me. And so I hope to just kind of continue to pass that along. I don't want my kids to do exactly what I do. I want them to find their passions. And I think if you chase people and passion in life, you never fail. And so my job as a mom is to help them find that. I think my kids are doing just that. I have a 16-year-old. You know how teenagers are a little stubborn. I have a 3-year-old and then a 1-year-old. So, the verdict's still out, but I hope to do my job and allow them to kind of be the guardrails so that they don't fall off the cliff, but they can kind of go in the direction they want to.
And women's sports have really, really taken center stage lately. You've been a big part of that. I mean, you're a trailblazer in a lot of ways, especially in the WNBA. So how do you feel about the direction the league is heading right now?
I think the direction that women's sports in general is headed is extremely positive. I'm excited about. We've been yelling from the rooftops that women's sports is here to stay, and that it's exciting, and that the more you put on TV, the more visibility, the more it's going to be able to have people in the seats and marketing and advertisement and all that stuff. So I'm just excited. I know you have been huge support of me from day one, and I want to thank you. You're on the back of the book as a blurb on the back of the book. So I want to say thank you to you. You are someone.
This ain't about me.
No,
it's about you.
Look at me. Listen, look at me. You have been the moral compass. You have been the direction. I called you and asked you, how can I, make broadcasting a career? So you have been the North Star of what that looks like. Seeing you say good morning to millions of people every morning has inspired me. So I appreciate you and,
thank you.
Your contribution.
Well, I'm inspired by you, and I always text you when I see you, commentating on the NBA and everything else that you do, because you do just a fantastic job. And I'm glad that you're doing this and you wrote this book. And I'm going to make sure my girls have a copy of this, because I want them to believe that they can do anything that they want to do as well. And I'm inspired by you. I really am. I just want you to know that, as not just what you do in front of the camera, but as a mother as well.
Well, listen, I can talk sports, but reading out of a teleprompter is another thing. You mastered that.
You'll figure it out.
You mastered that.
You'll figure it out.
I'm telling you.
But, I'm not even going to ask you who's going to win the NBA Finals. I want to put that pressure on you. They just got to tune in to watch you do your job.
Yes, tune in. Tune in to the NBA Finals. It's going to be exciting.
That's right. Always. All right, everybody. The Can Do Mindset. It is out tomorrow. Make sure you get it and get inspired. Candace Parker, everybody. Coming up, we're celebrating 10 years of marriage equality with a special anniversary surprise for 2 special couples. There they are. We'll be right back with more GNA.
We are back, kicking off Pride Month by celebrating 10 years of marriage equality. In 2015, the Supreme Court issued its landmark ruling, making gay marriage legal across the country. Take a look.
Love is love.
This morning, a celebration of love after years of struggle and activism. 10 years ago, June 2015, in a ruling decades in the making, the Supreme Court made history, legalizing same-sex marriage, making it constitutionally protected and legal in all 50 states. Crowds erupting in celebration across the country.
Same-sex couples and the LGBT community are finally being treated as equals.
I feel like my Constitution loves me now.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Can't even believe it.
Front page news across the nation and a top GMA story.
We want to turn now to the reverberations from that historic decision by the Supreme Court on gay marriage.
In the decades since the ruling, the landscape of love, family, and equality has shifted as same-sex couples have built their lives more freely, visibly, and with a dignity that was long denied. Sarah Joseph and Katrina Consul were among the first couples to get married legally in New York City.
There's a level of safety with her and comfortness that I've never really experienced with anybody else.
I just feel happy when I'm around her, right? There's just this joy of knowing that this is my person and that they're always going to be there for me. So that's sort of what I feel a lot of the time.
The number of same-sex couple households rose from just over 330,000 in 2014 to almost 775,000 in 2023. And many of those couples are now parents, with more states opening up surrogacy to same-sex couples and making adoption more accessible. Karsten Wagner and Lee Bruner are celebrating 10 years of marriage this summer with their 8-year-old daughter, Josephine.
But 10 years ago, it changed everything. We're an American family. And what we're teaching our daughter and what she and her friends are teaching us is that all families look different. And we're just a part of that.
And we are so happy to have both of those couples you just saw in our story right here with us this morning. Sarah Joseph and Katrina Council and Karsten Wagner and Lee Bruner with their daughter, Miss Josephine. Thank you for being here on Good Morning America, everybody. I am going to start with the ladies. Sarah and Katrina, you guys got married at City Hall here in New York City. How is it to look back on that historic moment?
It's exciting to know that we share our wedding anniversary with so many people across the country.
Right.
And every year we get to hear on the news when our wedding anniversary is.
You will never forget.
It's impossible.
That's cheating. That's not fair. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I'm so very happy for you, and thank you for being with us
Thank
today.
you. Thank you so much for having us.
And guys, I know we share a school in common. My little girl went to the same school you go to, young lady. And I know for you guys, this was so meaningful, not only as a couple, but because you wanted to have a child. It was imperative to you to have that equality.
That's right. I mean, growing up, I never thought I was allowed to dream this big. I never thought I could have a husband and we could be parents together.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much progress has happened so quickly.
Yeah, it's amazing. And Miss Josephine, your dads are going to celebrate a big anniversary.
Yes.
10-year anniversary. How are you going to celebrate with them?
I'm going to make them a card and bake a chocolate cake.
Yes! High five! I love it. Well, we want to celebrate with you as well. We think that we should kick off the celebration right now. Hit the lights. Everyone, come on out. We are celebrating your 10-year wedding anniversaries and the anniversary of marriage equality. We have brought in some of your favorite people to surprise you, along with the LGBTQ running club, the front runners. Wow, let the party begin. Congratulations, everybody. This show has gone off the rails, but you know what? We love it. So guys, let me just say, we also wanted to not only surround you with people that you love, and everybody's so happy for you, but we also wanted to, have some sweet treats for the celebration. Zach Young is with us. His incredible Sprinkletown donuts and ice cream on the house for you guys. Zach, what does this mean to be part of our celebration?
I think it's amazing to celebrate this, to also realize that it's only been 10 years and that this is what we're fighting for, and this is what we're celebrating now too.
Yes,
so.
And this is one way that we're going to celebrate it. Congratulations on your success. This is GMA. We like to add on to the surprises. So we do have one more big surprise for our two couples. The typical anniversary gift for 10 years is tin. That's not that much fun though. So we thought we could do a little bit better thanks to Booking.com, giving each of you guys $10,000 from Booking.com to choose an anniversary trip. You guys can look on their site for their Travel Proud badge for properties that are committed to providing extra welcoming hospitality for everyone, no matter where they come from, who they love, or how they identify. We hope you'll share with us all about your trip. You don't have to tell us where you're going, but we would like to hear all about it. Oh, you do already?
We're going to Japan.
Oh, all right. Let's go. I love it. Thank you all for being here for the celebration and the anniversary of equality, marriage equality. Thank you guys so very much. That was a great way to kick off Pride Month. Congratulations again.
Yes.
To everyone.
Happy anniversary. I want to thank you all for watching. Have a great day, everybody.